Just a few more people in, and we will commence. Good afternoon, everybody. I know that it's straight after lunch, so we're going to make sure we'll talk lightly and language that most of you will be able to understand, nothing too serious. And thank you for being here, whether you came to slip it off, the lunch, or to actually find this a very interesting panel. I'm Israel Pons, from Mexico originally, and I'm also board member of GBAN, which is the Global Business Angel Network, part of Gen Invest, which is the area of Gen, the Global Entrepreneurship Network, in the event that we are at, and the organization that brought us all here together. And we look after the areas of investment. We promote, we create, we install capacities so that there are more angel networks around the world in your countries or in your regions. Now that is one of the objectives, so that money, private money, can be deployed and invest in some of the amazing entrepreneurs that we have seen today, and you have also go in some of the countries that you represent here. I'm going to allow my guests and fellow colleagues of the industry to introduce themselves, and then we will start with some of the questions in the panel today, which is about angel networks and return on investment. We might touch on another areas that we think are quite interesting for you to know. But without further ado, Linda, please, could you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Certainly. My name is Linda Smith. I am a colleague of Israel's, and that we serve on the board together of the Global Business Angel Network. Prior to being a member of the board of GBAN, I served as the chairman of the board for the Angel Capital Association. That's the organization that represents over 400 angel groups in North America, predominantly in the United States. We have over 15,000 angel investors as part of our organization. I've had an opportunity to see a variety of angel groups and how they operate, and so I look forward to sharing some of that information with you today.
Thank you, Dave.
Welcome, everyone. My name is David Olivencia, a senior technology executive, and then over the last 15, 20 years, converted to an angel. I'm a part of several angel investing groups, Irish Angels, Gaingels, Sawmill Angels from Rolls-Holman, maybe one or two others I can't remember. But I co-founder and right now CEO of an angel investing group called Angeles Investors. We're 5 years old. We're one of the largest and fastest growing angel investing groups in the United States. And as an individual and angel, I've invested over 80 companies and can share those stories as well. Honored to be with you today.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Hello? Okay. So my name is Nicolas Rohana. I am glad to be in Indianapolis, first time. Very happy. It says board member IBAN. This is my night job, actually. So I come from Lebanon, Beirut, Lebanon, you know, so geopolitically, it gives you a bit of context. So I will share my story, you know, in a while. So what I do back in Lebanon is I run an early stage fund, and the early stage fund obviously deploys capital, and we are also ecosystem players, so we build blocks in the ecosystem. So we've seeded the first seed accelerator, and we've created angel groups along the years, and so I'll be talking about this in a while, and that's why I'm a board member of IBAN, because of the proximity of Lebanon to Europe and the actual work that we do at the early stage business investing.
Great, thank you. So what I like to do is we will start with what the content is of what we have prepared for you as a panel. But do feel free at any time you like to raise your hand. I'm not going to wait until we only got 3 minutes and then we run out of questions, because I can see that everybody's eager to ask questions. I know you want to raise your hand. So we didn't come here to entertain you. We came here to co-participate and collaborate So if there are any questions that you have about angel investment, how to deploy the angel investment, how to attract angel investment, and other types of investment, trust me, between all three of us gentlemen with gray hair and our younger member of the panel, dear Linda, have plenty of experience on what works and what doesn't work, and have lost enough money to not be ashamed of telling you of all the failures we had, and haven't had many exits, as some might consider that there is, so we can tell you what there is. So without, just first question, immediately at the back, the toilets are at the end to the right.
Yeah, I got a
Please,
quick
go
question
ahead.
for
Stand
Linda.
up and give me your name, please.
Yeah, my name's Frank Leonard. I'm from Indianapolis area. Quick question for Linda. Since you work with so many different disparate angel investors, can you tell us like 3 best practices that you've seen from some of the angel investor funds? Just give us some examples of good practices that you've seen.
Thank you for the question. The first would be to encourage angel groups to have diversity. And I don't mean by sex or ethnicity. I mean by background, skill set, and mindset. I had the advantage of being a member of Sierra Angels in beautiful Lake Tahoe, Nevada. And our angel leader always made sure that we had amongst our group somebody from almost every discipline. So we'd have a chemist, we'd have a doctor, we'd have an engineer, we'd have a psychologist, you name it. I always knew there was somebody in that group with the depth and capability to understand the pitch that was being made to us, regardless of what field it was in. So we were agnostic in terms of our investing, because we had a wide variety of industries. So that would be the first one. The second one is I would encourage being part of a syndicate in which you will get deal flow, often already with due diligence done, so that you can build upon the work of other angel groups who've already invested in this entity. Again, the advantage of where I was located was we had a route in which often an entrepreneur would start in San Francisco, go to the Angels in Sacramento, then they'd come over to Lake Tahoe to present before our group. They'd go south to Las Vegas, then around to San Diego, Los Angeles, Santa Barbara, and back home to Silicon Valley. So that natural route allowed for a very robust flow through that syndication with all those other angel groups of good deal flow for us. And the third thing I guess I would suggest is ensuring that you have a revenue model that will sustain your organization. Sustaining it by having a way in which you can ensure that members are willing to pay dues. We had a dues structure that covered our dinners and our meetings, 7 of them every year. But we also set up a fund, and one of the newest types of funds that we set up was what was called revenue-based financing, which meant that we invested in startups that already had a revenue flow, and we took a percentage of that revenue flow as opposed to taking stock in the company. A little bit of a different model, but we think it has been much more successful in giving some dividends and returns to our angel members so they stay part of the group. So those would be my 3.
Thank you, Linda. And whilst we look for another question, I will ask one, and then we'll go to the audience as well. And David, you were talking about when you introduced yourself, all the different models that you have worked with, and obviously you've been looking for the holy grail of angel investment. That's quite clear. But you mentioned something that you got excited at the end. Can you explain to us a little bit more about your model?
Yeah, so we're now 5 years old. We're an angel investing group. We have about almost a little over 650 members right now. We have 2 tiers of membership. We have investing members. They're roughly half of that 700. Then we have associate members, they may not be accredited in the United States. You have to be an accredited investor. or maybe they are accredited, but they're just still kind of seeing if this is right, or they're still kind of exploring to see if they want to invest. So that's roughly the model. We do quarterly summits. So our startups, for the most part, they pitch to our members every quarter. We just finished a summit in Silicon Valley this past weekend. We had 4 companies pitch for funding. I think and then we do receptions in between these 4 quarterly summits. We do them around the country. We're 80% of our members, almost 90% of our members are U.S. based. And 90% of 99% of our startups are based in the U.S. I think what was mentioned earlier on the value is phenomenal. I like the revenue generator. I like that model. I guess the other thing I would just maybe add to that is adding value, like educating and adding value to your members on just this asset class, startup investing, whether it's through due diligence documents to the other members, and I think social media for us plays a big role because our members are very distributed. So whether it's highlighting our members, highlighting our portfolio companies, highlighting our sponsors. A very astute point on your revenue model. We also have sponsors, 30 sponsors, 6 of the top banks in America, 2 tech companies, audit firms. So that helps our revenue model. So that was a little bit more on this.
Great. We'll go to a question in the audience, please. A microphone over there. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for jumping right to questions. That's I love this model. So with the slowdown of exits, I'd be curious if any of you directly or maybe indirectly have seen best practices with angel networks exploring secondaries in order to get exits for your angel members and allow for them to then bring those dollars back in on top of fresh startups.
Any of you? Yep.
Okay, I'll go. So the angel groups that I'm a part of, and mine included, and even my individual portfolio, we're aware of secondaries. We looked at them, and the financials around them aren't that good. So in general, I think we've been saying, hey, it's better to wait than to wait for the true exit than to go the secondary route. And that's, the 3 or 4 angels. Actually, I've invested in 80 startups, and I have yet to get do anything through secondaries. Now, I'm sure it's happening. I'm sure it exists, but that's been my experience.
Nicholas, let's go with you and bring us to life in Lebanon as an angel investor and angel network and the challenges that you have there. How were you born as an angel network?
Yeah, thanks. First, the title of the session is Supercharge your angel network. So before supercharging, you need to have an angel network, as such. So I'm taking you back like 10 years, because the last 5 years, if you read about the region around Lebanon, we've had economic crisis, devaluation of, the currency, then COVID, everything at standstill. Then we had the Beirut blast, half of the capital, blow away, and then we had shortages of fuel and what have you. So it was really, really quite lost time, and it was super hard to continue. And there were no banks because of the devaluation, etc. So it was really, really, really a mess. It still is, but we still are confident. And don't forget the war, in the south. So I will spare you with the details. Now, prior to that, there was like some golden age. And there was a program from the central bank, to invest in startups. And so there was a lot of hype around this. And so funds were created, but, later stage funds, Series A and the likes. And there were some accelerators and nothing in between. So that's why we came in, and we said, if you remember my intro, I said we're a early stage VC where we build blocks in the ecosystem as well as just funding. So we've created a seed accelerator, and then we created, angel groups. And how do you do that? When there is nothing. It's really there's nothing. They're high net worth individual, obviously, always like a few, but where they are, and then there's so many deals they can do. So we wanted to change the mentality and crowd source angel investing. So we came up with a program, and I go back to what David said about education. So since there was a lot of hype around startups, and everyone wanted a part of it, but didn't know how. You take a middle executive person, C-level, he has revenues. He doesn't know how to invest in startups. He doesn't have the deal flow. He can't carry a portfolio because he's so limited in money. So we said we're gonna, so a lot of the buzzwords were used in creating the first model that we did. So, and so there is the learning and earning part, and we called the program. So we started the first program, called it the MBA. It's the master class for business angels. So when we pitched this, and we branded it, everyone gets it. Oh, cool, it's an MBA, and then I come and learn. There are workshops, educational workshops, and the money that you pay for the MBA is actually goes to investments. So if you're a class of 30 people, 30 times, and the ticket was $15K at the time, so you have $500,000 of pot that you can invest in startups. So it's $500,000 a class. An MBA class that starts from September. So we did actually an academic year. It was from September till June, July, and then there was graduation ceremony, etc. And during this academic year, there was pitches every 6 weeks, and workshops, obviously, on how to invest and how to do diligence, etc. And we, as a fund, were managing this program. So we brought the startups, we did some due diligence and trained them how to pitch, etc. And we brought like 3 to 4 on these pitch nights every 6 weeks. And there was it was a programmatic, so there was a vote, and there was a moderator that, debriefed on what they saw, and everyone gave ideas. And by the way, going back to Linda's point about the complementarity of the people. So you used to have doctors and bankers, etc. So if there was a deal in like alignment of teeth or whatever, technology, so we use the expertise of one of those angels, and obviously it helped in setting the strategy of the investments of the group. So voila, so we did first group, first year, second year, and third year. So we did 5 groups, one of which was a women-only group, by the way, to invest in women-led startups. So I can go on and go on. Israel, you have to stop me because I have funny stories about this. So it was so successful that we actually had 150 graduates from this program. And by the way, so and when you tell the story and you pitch it to a middle class, executive, it takes 5 minutes, and he gives me the $15,000 check, because it's nice, it's cool. The process is it's just 15,000, and if he loses, it's fine. He's investing in 4 startups, by the way, so it's a mini portfolio. I mean, but it says, and on top of that, the cherry on the cake is my fund gives 50% equity guarantee. It's like the capital is guaranteed, so maximum he loses 50% of his money. So it's like, seriously? Here's the check. So it was an easy sell, It takes 5 minutes, and I got the first class of 26, the first, and the second one of 33, and then it went on. So voila. So this is the model. And by the way, so they created an SPV. So it is a syndicate where we created an SPV, and all of the angels were the LPs of these SPVs, and they voted on actual investments. Voila.
Amazing. And obviously, we're going to have another question here. Please prepare your questions. Remember, you can keep interrupting. And let's go to the man in the front.
Thank you for the man.
He's on.
He's on?
Yeah.
Excellent. So thank you for the man in the front. 2 questions, one for Linda and one for David. David, I'm the former president of a small, tiny business angel club based in Nice in France called Sophia Business Angels. We have 40 members, and we've been around for 22 years. And I have a question for you. And I'm a board member with Nicolas in the European Business Angel Network. Question for you. What is different from what I call 600, 1,000 business angels in an association compared to the way we're doing it? We just want to control our destiny, only 40. And we have the right expertise. One thing is different. We're all expat in France, so we have both the French Riviera. Cool thing, but we have 70 nationalities from US, Canada, Argentina, etc. So my question to you is, what's this trend I'm hearing? We need to be more. What's different?
Yeah,
And then for Linda, just to make sure that I'm done, and Linda, what is your belief in business angel women for women founders? Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great question, and if it's Sophia Antipolis, I'd happy to go there and speak at any time. I've been there before; it's beautiful. So it depends on the mission of the group, the leadership, and what they want to accomplish. I would say one, but I'd just say, and I'm a part of a angel group that's 40. I'm a part of Gangels, which I think is like 3,000. I don't even know So, and they all have different models. I don't necessarily know if it is a trend, but it could be. But here's what I think having a bigger angel group does. One is to Linda's point earlier, from a revenue generate to keep this thing going, it helps because you got more members paying dues. Second, sponsors especially banks, they like more members because they like the startups, but they also like potential clients and banking clients and wealth management. So it helps from a sponsorship perspective. Three is a lot of times we get companies pitch for funding, and we don't get enough interest from our with all the members that we have, we still don't get enough interest to cut an SPV. So I think having more members, you can cut bigger checks, more checks, and I think if you're able to cut bigger checks and more checks, it excites startup founders that are going to be more willing to get you on their cap table, to invest in. And I think one of the things that we believe with bigger does too is it does attract more startups because our network of a network versus of 700 versus 40 can use that network to help that startup grow and accelerate faster. So those are just some. Now, I think on the flip side too, you can be a very powerful 40 and do the same, but those will be just the ways we potentially look at that. What? Oh, you're those 40 are syndicating with other hubs in different areas too. Yeah, so that you can definitely do that as well and kind of have the same effect. So.
I'm going to give a little bit of a contrary approach, all right? And part of it is based on my experience. First of all, I'm going to make the comment that all of you know. It's easy to write the check. It's hard to get the money back. Okay, so that's what we're all focusing on, getting the money back. In the angel group that I've had the privilege of being involved in, we automatically or artificially limit ourselves to 100 members, okay? Let me explain why. First of all, and this is true, we're trying to encourage it amongst many angel groups, we invite spouses or partners because we know most of the investment decisions are made around the dining room table or the kitchen table. So almost half of the members of my angel group are women, just by the very nature. Now, it could be your partner, your significant other, we don't care what sex it is, but we want to have both of you there as part of the angel group. The second reason why we artificially limit it is we have a waiting list. Wow. So I live in a community of about 8,000 people. So when I tell people I'm a member of Sierra Angels, they say, oh, you're part of that elite group. So we have a cachet, and we have a list of people who want to join. Now, maybe we can do it because we have the great fortune of having a lot of California refugees who come to Nevada for tax reasons with very deep silicone pockets. So they can write big checks, even though our group is only 100 people. To answer the second half of your question is, and we try and get sponsors and the normal, lawyers, accountants, those firms, but we don't have to rely on sponsors to support our angel group. There are a number of very well-respected angel groups in the United States that invest in women-owned businesses. Golden Seeds is probably one that's probably very well known, and has had an excellent track record in terms of their portfolio, only investing in women-founded companies. There's also an angel group whose name I'm blanking on right now, but they invest in women's groups in the Middle East because they realize that that is an area where we really need to encourage entrepreneurship and self-sufficiency among that part of the population. And there's a woman named Marsha Dawood who has headed up that organization. She has branches in Dubai, in Egypt, and in Saudi Arabia, and has done a wonderful job of helping women entrepreneurs in that area. But I want to make sure that we don't forget about Israel and his angel group and how much fun they have. Would you share with us for a moment how you do it?
Thank you. I'm the moderator here, Linda, but I'll take the question and I answer gladly. So, as you have heard, some of my colleagues, they tend to have these meetings around the different areas. So maybe they meet once a month or once every 2 weeks to have a look at entrepreneurs that come and pitch. And when I was invited to become an angel investor, first of all in the UK, in a London-based angel network, we did the same. We used to meet in some offices of some accountants or bankers or whoever they were, because they would lend it to us. And I just found it so boring, always meeting in the same place. So I thought we needed to do a little bit more fun. And when I got to Mexico, I'm Mexican myself, I thought, what's the best thing that we can have from our own country? And I thought, well, the beach, right? Who doesn't like to go to a place like Tulum or a place like Cancun or a private island in the Caribbean? So I created something called Pitch at the Beach, which is bringing the investors and the startups and some of the people that need to be involved in growing entrepreneurs to a place where they can have their, no shoes on, barefoot on the sand. The stage is on the beach itself, and you are pitching in front of qualified angel investors and in front of all the crazy people. Everybody's wearing the T-shirts and the worst, shorts that you can imagine. No Speedos allowed, obviously, But it actually, what it meant to us is that in an emerging market, we had to do something different. And we had to use who we are in all culture. We are dancing, we are happy, we always are smiling, and we Latin Americans are like that. So I thought, why couldn't we do angel investment with that? And then at nighttime you can dance cumbia and reggaeton or whatever it is, but it actually connects people. The whole idea of having somebody pitching in front of investors is that you create that chemistry between one and another. So you don't need to dress up with a suit to go and pitch in front of angel investors, because they actually don't like to wear suits. I've seen very few angel investors that wear ties. We prefer to be comfortable and be ourselves. So that's the event, and it's been in Portugal, it's been in Dominican Republic, it's been in Mexico. We want to do it in other parts of the world, of course. We need sponsors for that, angel investors for that, and others. But that's enough about me and everything. Any more questions for my panelists? We've got 2 more here, please. Remember, you have in the panel, you have local experience, and by that I mean US experience, because let's remember, you have an ecosystem here that is more developed due to the number of years that's been operating. And then you have emerging markets with different characteristics. Lebanon, that has its own geopolitical challenges, and there are entrepreneurs and investors there. And Latin America, that also has its own geopolitical challenges, but you still have investors and you still have entrepreneurs. So the challenges are different. You probably say that you're in a saturated market in the US. We don't believe so. You probably think that, well, there is no money to invest in Latin America or in Lebanon or in the Middle East. And actually there are loads of opportunities. So, and there are challenges. Like I said, I have to take my investors to the beach and they loved it. And the entrepreneurs even more. But actually, you deal with the challenges. So we hope you learn from what experiences we have here. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, it's great. Thank you for that. My name is Ben Pigeon. I'm the executive director for Vision Tech Angels. Been doing it 9 years, about 120 investors. And so my question kind of comes around the theme that Indiana doesn't have a beach that we can entertain angels at. But I do see over the time period that I've been doing this, a challenge in competition for time and decision making. And so, some investors join our network. We've got a very similar business model to what's been described, pay membership fee, gain access to deal flow, and choose which deals you get into. But there's decision fatigue in the market. There's competing time for interest. There's vacation, my own health, my own retirement planning. How do you elevate angel investing as a priority when there's other priorities that are competing for that time?
Who wants to? Maybe a couple can take the different points of view.
Yeah,
Go ahead, David.
sure. I'm still getting that Speedo at the beach thing out of my head, but
Always works.
yeah, no, I think it's a bit of marketing, right? I think everybody, our angel investors have other priorities. They're very successful and they're doing so. It is a bit of. I like to think about it as marketing. It's marketing the companies that are pitching. It's marketing the network. The connections that they make. Because sometimes they don't pitch, but I think it's marketing the connections that they make. I think it's marketing the success of your portfolio as well. Not all of them do well, right? But I think it is key to market their journey and the ones that are doing well, and the event itself, or I guess the people coming together. Those have been the successes and or the learnings or the things that you're going to get out of. And I think it's a little bit of the experiences too. I think there is a beach in Northwest Indiana, by the way. You got a national park up there. But I think finding experiences. I think a lot of people, we go to a lot of events, hear a lot of things. But I think that's a phenomenal idea. And other experience, I think, would be maybe another thing I would add to that as well.
Ben, I would add to the comments from David is that some angel groups use a fund system so that they have a carried interest, and as a result, they can pay for either a part-time or a full-time person to do some of the heavy lifting, both the administrative work as well as the due diligence. Numbers of angel groups use interns from local universities, again, to come in and do the I won't call it drudgery, but the tough stuff that takes time and that your angel members maybe don't want to carve out enough time for. So using interns, maybe making it part of a class project to take the resources from a local college, as well as using a carried interest approach to have paid professional staff. And that's where sponsors can also come in very much. And the final thing, as I mentioned previously, is using a syndication so that the due diligence is perhaps done off-site by another angel group, but one that you trust, their leadership, they do a good job, and they're not going to send their dogs to you. That's that thing that you always have to be careful of. But I would also mention that Israel has a pitch on the mountain, or what do you call it?
Pitch in the sky as well.
Pitch in the sky.
Yeah.
So if you have any mountains, maybe you can do the same thing.
Yeah. We can do pitch at the speed circuit as well. I'm sure we can come up with something there. Just very quickly to add on that is you cannot allow, as an angel network or angel group, to be stressful what you're doing. The whole reason of becoming an angel investor is that you're going to have fun, right? You need to decide who does the heavy lifting, like Linda said, yes. But if it becomes a competition, who writes the check quicker, another angel is going to invest from another angel network, it's going to become a competition, then that's not the reason why you're there. It's not about missing out on the deals. It's about loving the entrepreneur that you're going to invest in and say, this is the one that really makes a chemistry. And I know that sounds like we all have drink the Kool-Aid, but it is, we do it because we fall in love with entrepreneurs. Are we going to make money? We love to make money. I can see angel investors here, and I can say, how many exits have you had? And they probably got them in one hand. And some of them will have none. Some of us will have one. That's, yes, like Linda said, let's get our check back. But once you doing that, have fun whilst you're waiting for your check back. Participate. Do things that really make you become the angel network that everybody wants to belong to, because you do a lot more than just look at deals and decide whether the economics work or not. The moment you take a decision that the economics don't work on that startup, then you're measuring wrong the startup that you're going to invest in. Then you are an economics professor. You're not a risk taker, which is an angel investor's first priority is how can I invest? And then how can I lose little and not much? And then if I have an exit, how can I take it out? But most of the fun is in the journey, not necessarily where you begin. And I said to everybody, join an angel network that actually is full of fun. If all they do is have dinners, it's like, well, there come a point where the dinner is only going to put weight on your mid-waist and it's not going to happen anything else. You need to enjoy other people's company.
Can I add just
Yes.
just on that? Of course, something that we forgot about angel investing is the post-investment. I mean, follow-up, because I mean they come and pitch for the angel, not just for the money. Obviously, they need support, you know, and so that's the smart money, that approach. So that I mean, one of the angels always, in our case, becomes a deal leader because he led the due diligence and then they did the investment vote, and he sits on the board of advisors, or either advisor or the actual board of the startup, so that they give also much more than the money, you know, advice, strategy, etc.
Great. So let's make the questions in 10 seconds and let's give the answer in 1 minute and we can fit in another 5 questions.
Okay. Is it working? Yeah. So Luis, also coming from Latin America, a principal for Alaya Capital. And I wanted to double down on the question, the first one, about exit. So let's say secondaries is not an option or you don't do secondaries. What have you seen that works for the exit strategy?
I will start. In our case, when we started the angel groups, as I said, there was an ecosystem. So there were VCs, and we told the angels that don't worry. I mean, now we're building all the stages of the ecosystem, and then you would exit to the VCs, you know, because they would be interested into these companies that you've created and going to the next stage. And since you're taking a minority share in the company, so it's easy for a VC to buy you out, you know. So we've seen that in a couple of deals materialize, obviously before the crisis, and even during COVID, etc. We had the two exits of edtech companies, you know, that were acqui-hired from international big corporations.
Here
So
in
part
front-
of the pitch
yeah.
should always be, what is your exit strategy? We know IPOs are almost non-existent these days, so it's going to be a merger, it's going to be an acquisition. So then you want to follow up and make sure, who are you talking to? At what level? How far have those conversations gone? So that you know that 3 years, 5 years, whatever, you can finally get your money out. But it should be on day one when you're talking to that entrepreneur that you know exactly the details of their exit approach.
So we have a question here. So very quickly, so 2 of the exits that we had were done by a large family offices. So they also starting to see this as interesting. They don't want to do the hard work of seeing the startups at the beginning. So make sure you have your align your family offices in the country that you're in or in the region. Because the 2 exits we did to a couple of companies, one of them is a family office of Shein in Mexico, and they bought us out. And another one also happened in another retail industry, and they bought it out very quickly. And the transaction was quick, and it was clean, and it was done. So family offices is also a good option.
Hi. Hi. I'm Camilo from Ecuador. We have an angel network 15 years ago, and we've done 2 exits in 15 years. And what is happening with our members are very traditional in their industries, and the way we've been investing is through equity. But now more and more entrepreneurs in Latin America are asking for safes, and safes are in United States. And to make the follow-up of that, when you're an angel, maybe when you're a venture capital, you have the structure to make the follow-up. But when you are an angel investor, it's not that easy from Latin America to see how to follow up those safes. So my question is, how are you investing? How are you using new vehicles for investment as equity or safes or other? And how do you make the follow-up to those? Because it's long-term follow-up, and how are you doing that?
Yeah, so I would say about of our initial investment, because there are follow-ons, I'd say 60% are either safe or convertible notes, and maybe 40% are just kind of direct equity. A lot of times you hope that those safes convert to equity, and there's this a continuous growth. The follow-up, I didn't necessarily, I mean, I also run a fund. I'm a general partner in a fund as well, but the follow-up's not that, you should get, information rights as part of that. You should get quarterly reports. Not only just, I always say getting the financial report is kind of interesting. It's cool. It gives you the data point. But as angel investors, should be like, well, how can we help? What can we do? How can we connect you? Because if you're just asking for give me data, that's cool, but you're not going to be a great angel group, I believe, if you just do that. I would say the last thing as like on the exit thing, which I find it's a challenge because I'm kind of in the same boat. The good news is if you've invested in a company, they're doing really well, it will be a long time before you get your money back. And then there's some that just kind of drag on. But if you invest early, you have less, you don't continue to keep your pro rata. You have less control over what's happening later rounds for that exit. So you're at the will of whoever's the major equity owners in that company. So that'd be the only other thing that you should work with them or influence them. Or last point, help that startup find an exit. I mean, that's in your control.
I would say that the order of magnitude is investing in securities. It's certainly within the United States is more than 50%, 50 to 60%, then convertible notes, then safes. But one of the issues here in this country, and I don't know in Ecuador, is that there is a tax regime in the United States that if your investment fails and you've invested in equity, you can write it off as a loss. Now, if you have a similar kind of a tax structure in your country, then you want to always invest in equities, not in convertible notes and not in safes.
Any last question from the audience? Going once, going twice, anybody? Because we're going to wrap up now, and I will ask my colleagues to just give me their final thoughts on where should technology be. We haven't spoken about AI, probably the first panel that hasn't mentioned those two letters.
So 10 seconds, seriously?
Don't worry about that. It started late. It's fine. So give me whether you're using technology. Have you played with AI in your angel network or any technology that makes you take decisions quicker, faster?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, this is something that we have. As I said, we're running a VC and the angel network, and so we have a software, that manages the portfolio. And I've asked my team to, supercharge the software with AI, so that we have prompts and, we don't have to go to menus and sub-menus. We use prompts to go and dig out the information of each company and portfolio and do reports, investor reports, easily. So definitely yes. And I've challenged them to do that, in faster, very, very fast.
Yeah, we're using it for some functions right now with the plan to use it across every function. And I'm always challenging our team, why aren't we using AI for this? What's the prompt? Improve the prompts, all that kind of stuff. And this is and it's every function, right? How do you market better to your angel groups? How do you put the right messaging, due diligence, strategies, exit strategies, all that kind of stuff. So across all functions.
Well, and in the technology area, think about using platforms for investing. 3 that I like happen to be AngelList, which is mostly focused on United States companies, Our Crowd, which focuses on Israeli companies, and PropelX, which focuses on Asian, predominantly India companies. But there's a lot of platforms out there. They make it easy for you to invest even small amounts, like less than $5,000, and a good way to diversify your portfolio.
Great. I know my friend from France is telling me that we're finishing, but just give me one word more, please. You thought I had finished with you. I haven't, right? So each one of you is going to tell me one industry to look out for. You are not allowed to say AI, because remember, it's not an industry, it's a technology that impacts in different industries. So what industry that you will say I could dedicate a good portion of my checks the rest of the year, that the audience, VCs, family offices, investors, maybe they haven't thought of, but that you have access to and you think, yeah, this industry is a good opportunity. So there is no 1, 2nd, and 3rd. Whoever got the first answer, go ahead.
Supply chain, innovation, and tech.
You have to be patient, but life sciences, it's very in this nowadays.
I would probably say fintech and femtech would be 2 areas I would be looking at closely.
Great. That's all, folks. Thank you very much. Have a great afternoon.